Good day everyone, it's Pramita here. Today I'm going to talk about what you should be or should not be doing if you just got into a leadership position. So if it is the first time that you have become a leader, or if I call it as a manager, or if it is just that you join a company at a leadership position, there are a few bits and pieces that you need to bear in mind when you join there. Now, first and foremost, when you join a company at a leadership position, the first thing that you think to do is you want to make wholesale changes. You want to prove to your boss that, you know what, I'm coming up with a great experience and I want to implement everything there. And at the same time, you want to prove to your team that you are coming up with a different view and you are experienced, so you want to do all those changes. But that literally gives an indication to everyone that you're a bit insecure. First and foremost thing, if you're a leader who is joining a company, that you need to read the environment, you need to read the people. End of the day, whatever the changes that you are going to do, you need to get the buy-in from both your superiors as well as your subordinate. After all, if you commit to a change with your superiors where your subordinate do not agree, you're going to get stuck behind. And at the same time, you do not want to get into a mindset of, you know what, I'm the leader, it's either my way or the highway. Because that also suggests that you are insecure. That means you're trying to use the authority to get things done. Of course, there are instances that you need to use the authority and then you need to make tough calls. But that cannot be your first approach towards managing teams as well as delivering results. At the same time, you don't want to look like too laid back. You don't want to be a person who would say yes to everything. If you want to say yes to everything, you don't sound like a good leader. You have to come up with insights. You don't want to do, so you see, that's a right balance that you need to find. You can't come up with a scenario where you want to change everything, because that's going to make your people disappointed. And at the same time, you can't always be carried away with what people tell to you as well. That's where your technical expertise, your experience comes into play. And at the same time, you also need to have a read of the room. You need to understand who your team members are, what their strengths are. No matter what team members say, they want to do always new things, but you need to realize that team members have particular skill sets, and you need to make sure that you increase that skill set, and you need to make sure that you give them enough chances for them to succeed. That's a very difficult concept. It's very difficult for you to understand what the core strengths of someone else, let alone if that person himself doesn't know what his or her core strengths are. And last but not least, make sure that you identify top 2 to 3 priorities and you work on those. If you have 10 to 15 things that you have to work on every day, you're not going to get anything done. Focus on top 2 to 3 priorities that would have been communicated to you by your superior when he or she hired you, saying that this is what I want you to focus on. That is what you need to start delivering. If you try to work on everything at the same time, you're not going to deliver on any of it. Rather, if you focus on small task or small number of tasks where you can have the biggest impact, that's where you start adding value. You see, leadership is not always going to be an easy task. There are so many people who are going to look up to you. At the same time, your superior is going to look down to you as well. So it's finding the right balance and making sure you rely on your skill set, you rely on your experience, and at the same time, you make sure that you do that tightrope walk without letting either parties disappointed. It's always a trial and error basis, but make sure you come up with those, or you get sticking to those core principles, you'll be all right. That's it for today, guys. Until I see you next time, enjoy.